welcome to Relics Radio, your favorite weekly podcast dedicated to the metal detecting and treasure hunting community. Here are your hosts, Ken from Adventures in Dirt and Tony from 5280 Adventures.
Welcome to Relics Radio. DK here from Adventures in Dirt. Welcome to another Thursday night joining us right here on the Relics Radio Podcast. Now, actually, the vidcast. Is that what we're calling? I don't know, but we're coming to you live on video. I want to bring in my co-host. You know him. If you hear this music, you know who's coming. Listen to this. It's Mr. 5280 Adventures. Tony, how you doing, buddy?
Good morning. I'm doing well. How are you, man? Thanks for the music.
Yeah, shoot. It's like a fanfare. Dun, da, da, da.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
doing good. I'm doing good, man.
All of the listeners just tuned out when they heard that.
I did. I saw the watchers just drop.
It just plummeted.
Yeah, welcome everybody. Shoot, if you're catching us on the replay on the audio, join us sometime over here on the live video part of the podcast. That'd be great. But we appreciate you listening. I see your numbers, and everyone keeps downloading the show and listening to it later wherever you may be. So we definitely appreciate that. Again, if you're just joining us and wondering why we're talking about video, Tony and I are doing the video over on his YouTube called 5280 Adventures. We do it live there every Thursday night on video. And the reason we did that, why, Tony? Because old Spreaker, right?
Yeah, they're dumping the live video, live video. So they're dumping that, and so we just decided to just go to our social media and just do it that way. You'll still hear it on the replay on Spreaker, just can't be live with us and chat and all that kind of good stuff like we used to do.
Yeah, for those of you listening to the show, you know we always interact with the people that join us live in the chat room and stuff like that. And they're doing away with that. It's still there right now. So if you're wondering, like, what do you mean I can still go there and check it out? They're doing away with it. So we thought we'd start this early just to get our feet under us with all the technology and stuff. But you're welcome to keep downloading the show. We'll keep posting the shows there after we're done recording them here on the YouTube channel. So if you ever want to get it first and watch us, you might not, but look at our mugs. Come join us over on the 5280 Adventures YouTube channel. How's the week, man?
You know what? We've taken some time off. I mean, this is I don't even know which buttons to push. We've been gone for so long. We took some time off, did some personal things, and we appreciate everybody's patience. But we're not gone. We're back here live, and just needed some time away for a second. So and I tell you, we're coming back with a big boom with the guest tonight. Wait till we get to this, guys.
We are excited for sure.
Let's check out the chat real quick. We've got metal detecting war relics.
Oh my goodness, what's up, Nick West?
Yeah, Nick West, and he says hi from France. We were over here helping with the retrieval of the Fallen from WW1.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
what a worthwhile endeavor there, Nick. Best of luck to you and all the people you're over there with. Tell them the boys over at Relics Radio said to keep up the good work over there, and good luck to you all in the stuff you're looking for sure.
And thank you for all that. Yeah, we got Buckle Boy Metal Detecting coming in with us. Welcome in, Buckle Boy.
What's up, buddy?
Mr. Bill Hayes, always with us. Hey, X marks the spot. Mark.
X marks the spot. What up, peeps? I see Teresa the Treasure Hunters joining us tonight.
Teresa.
How are you, Teresa? She's been really active lately on social media and stuff. And
it's nice. It's fun to see her.
Nice. Yeah, it's always fun to see her and interact with her. Welcome everybody. I'm glad everyone's rolling in for a good show tonight. Ohio Relic Hunter in the chat. Good to see you, buddy. Jersey Ray Diggs. Yeah. Very good. What's up, Rachel?
Oh, you got your wish. Copper Joe's in the house.
Hello, Joe. I was sure hoping you joined us tonight, buddy.
He saw that. I bet he was salivating like no other.
Yeah.
This show's geared towards him, man. Holy cow.
Yeah. You know what we might do? Maybe we'll, I don't know, Joe, have you ever joined anything live on video with your phone or anything? Because we might be able to throw the link in for the chat so you two copperheads tonight could talk copper to copper. So yeah,
There
if you're
you
joining
go.
us tonight, we got a lot to talk about with our guests. But yeah, Tony said we were gone. A lot of you have heard that I have been promising my wife a vacation for some time now. Matter of fact, I've taken a couple of metal detecting vacations without her, and she's
And
made it
with
very
me.
clear. Yeah. Tony and I've been on more vacations than my wife and I, but so we were able to get out. We got out, did a good vacation. I know that we may talk about this again in a future episode, but we had a good time. We got away, and it was very needed and very appreciated.
Yeah, it looks like you had a great
Coast.
time.
Yeah.
East Coast history, man. I mean, you were in a whole different world when you got out there, huh?
Oh my God. Anywhere you could throw a rock, you just hit amazing history. I was on cloud 9, head was on a swivel, and we drove 1,400 miles.
Did you really?
Yeah, that's how many miles we put on our rental car. We were in Philadelphia, New York.
And you flew out there first. You didn't drive out there from Colorado.
No, we flew into Delaware. Well, we went everywhere. We did everything.
That's
it was
awesome.
It was a lot of fun. We'll talk about it next week, maybe. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
What about you? How was your week, man? I've been out of touch.
Yeah, not really much going on.
Did you and the boys get out?
No. You know what? It's been beautiful all week. And then Saturday, it decides to rain or snow. We had snow last week. So no, we haven't been able to get out, but I think we're getting out this Saturday. You're coming, right?
I am coming. Yeah, I'm coming there.
Okay.
I'm really looking forward. I mean, I've been gone for, I think our vacation was like 9 days or something like that. And, you come back and things are just blooming here in Colorado. Like everything, spring is springing. And my yard is just like, we are going to overgrow the house if you don't get out here and do something. So I do have some yard work to try to get done this weekend, but I think I am going to peel out on Saturday and join you guys because we've been having a lot of fun together lately.
Yeah. And from what I've heard, we got a couple good spots lined up. So, should be productive, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to. It's been a couple weeks, and we've been doing real well thus far in 2024. So hopefully the streak continues and we can get back on the good stuff, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I know that Michael's out there really doing a lot to try to track down permissions for us, so we appreciate it. It's always good to have somebody that's got some time to get out there and do that for us.
You can put boots on the ground and knock on the doors, right?
Yeah, he can definitely do that. So, well, cool, man. Hey, let's get to our guest because you know what? We're not going to. I'll tell you guys right now, we're not covering everything tonight. There's no way. We might not cover everything, having him on maybe 6 or 7 times here in the future, but I'm excited to talk to Alex for sure. I'll let you bring him on.
Yeah. Let's see. We've got for season 7, episode 19. We have Alex Fetal from Michigan. He's kind of like the copper culture guru. So, Alex, thank you so much for coming on tonight, giving us your time on Relics Radio. Appreciate you coming on.
Hey, Guru. You've been called that before?
Oh, man. I've been called the fur trade guru.
Yeah.
I don't
know. Oh, okay.
We'll
add the copper to it now.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll take it.
Yeah. There's a lot of guys that have a lot more copper than me, for sure. I just,
You're after it.
Yeah.
So as we were talking to having you on, Alex and I were chatting on Facebook Messenger, and he sent along some pictures, and I was like, cool. He sent like 4 or 5 of them along, and I'm like, wow, that's really cool. Like, holy cow. Like, man, I can't ask him about that. I can't wait to ask him about that and that. And then all of a sudden, here they come. And it seemed like for 2 days straight, he was just posting picture after picture. I'm teasing you, man. But like even before the show, we were looking at pictures and we were just like drooling. We're like, oh my gosh. And I don't know what half the stuff is. All I know is that 1, you display it very well. And 2, it looks as I could ask you about every item.
Yeah.
And the fact you could probably tell me about every item.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
really cool.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to throw out, if anybody's listening on the replay, I'm just going to encourage you guys to head over to the YouTube and watch the replay on the YouTube, because we're going to do a lot on picture-wise, sharing
Yeah.
the screen and looking at specific items and
Yeah.
talking about those. So it's going to be a very visual-laden episode tonight.
And we'll do our best to describe what
Of
we're
course,
seeing
of course.
in honor of those that listen back on the replay. We always got to remember to do that.
Absolutely.
Here's what we're looking at. We're looking at something. It's knife shaped or whatever. It's kind of looked all beat up, and it's blah, blah, blah. And then Alex can tell us what it is and where it's from and how we don't have that out here in Colorado. Well, let's start in
Yeah.
you know,
Start
ways
off at the
back, man.
beginning.
Yeah. Like, okay, first, before you get into the whole culture, fur trade, all that stuff, metal detecting, like, how did that enter your life?
So I was actually probably about 16, and I had just kind of watched some guys on YouTube, just finding some stuff, and I'm like, that looks pretty interesting. So I saved up my money at the time and bought my own bounty hunter, and I took it out in the yard, found like some nails and stuff, nothing really. I actually just totally put it in the closet, never looked at it again for like years. And then I just started kind of learning about the history of our area a little bit more. And I started looking for homesteads, started seeing more videos, went back to YouTube, started watching like Aqua Chigger and seeing some of the things he was digging. I'm like, dude, this is like what I want, buried treasure,
Right.
man. So I started doing a lot of research, and then I started getting to homesteads. And our area is a little unique because it didn't actually open up to homesteading until 1875. So we don't have a ton before that for like settler wise. But I did start getting on a number of small little homes like that, finding, you know, old Indian head pennies, obviously Wheaties, of old silver here and there. Started doing a lot of parks. That's how it started.
You remember kind of that first thing that just really blew you away? Like,
Yeah. So through my work, I'm able to go to a lot of old historical homes and work on them.
oh,
Yeah. So that was like
doesn't hurt.
that was a big in at the beginning. And I actually went and found a skeleton key from the original Edison phonograph. It's like two dolphins kissing. It's brass. It was beautiful. That was the first thing I dug that just totally hooked me. Skeleton keys are one of my favorite things to find, and that was awesome.
yeah.
It just kicked it off, man. So I just started going from there.
Yeah. That is really cool.
Wow.
I love, okay. I've never found one, but boy, if I ever found a skeleton key,
Yeah.
that'd definitely be a highlight of the day for sure. And probably for a while, you know.
Yeah, I
Very
love
cool.
it.
Yep. Me too.
So you kind of have
So-
that love for history, and then moving towards that research side. Did that really kind of like all of a sudden the heavens opened up and you're like, oh my gosh, it's like all around me?
Yeah. Once I started kind of overlaying maps and seeing how
Yes.
many homesteads there were and what activity was going on, it was just like a whole other world of maps, a whole different map than what was like currently out
Right.
there, you know, and it just unlocked this whole era of history that I really didn't even pay attention to or didn't know existed for a long time.
yeah.
That's
We,
awesome.
did you see Joe's comment real quick? I was kind of looking at
Yeah.
the chat. It says, "Hi, Alex. You and me have a lot in common." Yeah, we were hoping Joe would come along.
Yeah.
'cause he's always calling in, and we were able to meet him out here in Colorado, and I know he's a big fan of the copper culture.
Yeah. What's up, Joe?
Yeah,
I've listened to the podcast for a long time. I just have never got on and been in the comments. I always listen later. So
yeah.
I know you through the podcast, but I've never talked to you actually.
There you go. So yeah, we're gonna ask you a lot about it. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
No, I
you.
was going to say I'm usually out detecting while the podcast
Oh.
is going on. So
Yeah.
Darn.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people do. We see the numbers. We know an
Yeah.
awful lot of people download the podcast later on. I mean, a lot of people,
Yeah.
that's why they like podcasts, right? Because it's sort of on demand. You can listen to it when you want to listen to it instead of following a certain schedule, you know what I mean? But other people like to listen to it live and stuff. And that's why we just decided to come over here and put it on get the video portion of it going, because like tonight we're going to show a lot of your pictures that you sent me, and for the video viewers, that's a benefit. You know what I mean? It's going to be a big benefit for them. And if you, like Tony said, if you're listening on the replay, you can always come back over to his channel and catch it. He leaves them up, so you can always come back and catch that. And I encourage you to do that, because a number of our guests that we've had on now, we kind of gravitate towards the visual. And there's been some cool things shared here on the show recently. So, so where do we go from here? Like, that's a great start.
Where do you start? You know what? So you said you started out with the bounty hunter. What was kind of the evolution of the metal detecting arsenal?
So it's pretty simple. I didn't have a ton of money to start out with, so I stuck with the bounty hunter for a long time. I dug a couple thousand holes with that bad boy. Found a lot of good stuff. My first like gold ring, old silver coins and stuff from the parks. And then shout out to one of my buddies up here. He had an old AT Pro that he wasn't using at the moment, and he gave me a killer deal on it. And so I traded in like all the coins I'd collected and like everything I'd saved up for, and got the AT Pro. And that's what I've been rocking ever since then. I just kind of have a coil or two I've added to it since then. But besides that, it's pretty much just AT Pro I've been using.
Great machine.
It's hardy. I tell you, I went from the H250 to start out kind of similar to like a bounty hunter. Next one was the AT Pro. I used that for a long, long time. So people swear by that. I tell you, even though it's a little bit of an older machine, it's kind of, definitely worn well. I mean, the things that it still pops out of the ground.
Dude,
it's a good machine.
I mean, it's a great machine, man. I go out a lot with a buddy that uses the Deus, and he's very good with it. And, he's gone out with other guys with other machines, and the AT, I can keep right up with them.
Good.
So,
yeah. What do we always say, Tony? It's about,
it's about learning a machine.
Inches and angles.
Inches and angles.
Yeah. Because like Tony and I both can follow up with each other and find stuff right behind the other one. You know what I mean?
Sure.
We just go over it different angles and just happen to get over it. You know what I mean? Hear it maybe a little different, and you're just like, hey, that might be something. We always tease each other, right? Because we're like, hey man, don't worry about that. I've already been over there. There's nothing over there. Don't worry about that.
We're constantly going over each other's areas that we've done. We'll get to a site, and it's just a battle to see who can find the last deep thing there.
Right.
So are you out a lot with some other people digging and stuff?
Yeah, I'd say probably like 50-50.
Okay.
I have a buddy or two that I go out with quite a bit, and then sometimes I'll just go and scope areas out by myself, do a little exploring. But
you find that you enjoy hunting more with people than by yourself?
Yeah, I mean, people are fun to go with for sure. The Bob Bennett is the guy that I have gone with a lot. He was kind of the guy that originally was teaching me about it, because he's detected this area in the fur trade for a long, long time. I think it's probably around like 25-30 years. He was one of like the OG guys, and he started kind of explaining to me what was going on with what he's mapped out and found over time, and he knew I was a crazy researcher, so then we kind of just put our heads together, and it was a deadly combo. I mean, we just started killing it out there. So
yeah, that's always cool, man, when you got two people that like-minded, you got the passion, right, but you have two different skill sets, you know what I mean? Like, and when they complement each other, like Tony and I are a lot like that. Like, we both love research, right, and we do it different ways. And so we always are coming up with this and that. Like, he'll spark it. Like, he'll go, Ken, look, I was looking at this old map and I did the overlay, and I think there's some stuff right here. Then I'll go to the old fur trader trails, the old, trapper trails. And I'll go, oh, there's a trapper trail right next to there. You know what I mean? And we'll start combining all that. Mm-hmm. And we're like, that's got to be the hot spot right there, or we'll finally figure it out, and it'll be a combination of us all coming together. So it's really cool when that happens, man. I love that.
that. Well, I get asked a lot, how do I go about finding these sites? I always give pretty much the same answer that it started. I just read every document I could come across, whether it was old journals and like biographies. Then I started getting into like the French documents that have been translated. You can find a lot of
Sure.
those, and like the like the letters back and correspondence going back and forth. So that'll give you an idea of like what activity was going on in the area, and also they sometimes mention areas of interest. They don't really tell you a whole lot though of like specific areas, like pinpointed spots.
Right.
So then I was kind of just fortunate enough. Bob had shown me and taken me to a couple spots that he had pretty much hunted out. There was not really anything left there for the most part, a lot of these, but I was able to see where these spots were. And the more spots I went to, I started realizing, like, I basically started thinking how these people were thinking back then, looking for good campsites, where they would have been looking for. You see patterns because human nature is pretty predictable.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
looking
for water.
Yep. Water, flat spots. A lot of this was obviously temporary stuff, traders coming through. So you look for good landing spots, areas where they might have gone back and camped out of the wind, where good supplies were. LiDAR is pretty much my assassin tool that I use now. LiDAR.
Do they have a lot? Whereabouts are you? Are you able to say? I know. I mean, don't give us GPS coordinates, but
yeah. I'm up in Emmett County. I live in Lansing. It's Petoskey is probably, or Harbor Springs is like the town most people would know. So we're about like 40 minutes south of the bridge, Mackinac Bridge.
Mackinac.
Yeah. And so they have is super clear, good LiDAR, where we are. And we can, once you know what you're looking for, you can actually start to see trails that were used by these people back then. You can see food pits and depressions. So food pits are cache pits.
Wow.
Where they would have campfires or, store their stuff, belongings and food and things. You can start to see that and see patterns. So, I mean, I just stare at LiDAR for hours.
Do they have a lot of LiDAR up in your area? Because some areas, like down here in Colorado, they don't have a ton of LiDAR. Plus, there wasn't a ton of activity way back when. But
right, they do have LiDAR. The site that I use it's not like the high end version you would get on like a really nice computer setup, but it's free. And I always direct people to it if you're wanting to like look for good LiDAR maps. sartopo.com, sartopo.com. It's just like a online map service. And you can go in the layers and you can add shaded relief. And that is basically like a dumbed down version of LiDAR. It's still super effective. Like it does everything that I need it to do for the most part. But it'll show you all that stuff, and it's it's free and accessible. So, and you can use it when you're out in the field. It'll track where you're going. So
wow.
I'm going to look that up. I wrote it down. I put it in the chat over here. We
I
might have to have you back on to just a whole show about LiDAR.
A whole show about LiDAR. That'd be cool. And using that.
Yeah, a lot of people are interested in that, and absolutely, that's interesting stuff.
That's
I think it's a great. It is. It's kind of a new tool that's coming out that people are barely just starting to dabble in, and those that have gotten really into it have been very successful. So I know which direction it's going.
Right.
Yeah.
And I will say for those in the chat, you got questions for Alex, man, just start throwing them. Tony and I are looking for them. We're throwing them up. I know Joe asked, are you in sandy areas?
So some. So if we're doing like a landing spot kind of closer to the shore, it will be more sandy. A lot of times you'll dig down through around here. It's probably like 5-6 inches maybe of topsoil or kind of dark dirt, and you'll get right down to the beach sand layer, and that's right where they were camping. So if you dig the dirt out of the way and the signal's still in the hole, 100% it's going to be fur trade. down in there. So because that was the original beach and the dunes that they were camping on using. Once you get farther inland, then it's just in the normal topsoil. But yeah, so like a lot of the copper culture too, that'll be down in the sandy layer.
Sure.
Yeah. We isn't it hard to envision what life was like back then? I mean, you can read up on it. You find these relics, which gives you kind of a cool perspective on it. But man, even like when I was in England, thinking back 2,000, 3,000 years, and you're talking about much further back than that. It's just hard to imagine, what life was like then. I mean, these tools and these items and these artifacts had to be everything to them. You know what I mean? Like they had to be so, I mean, they might not have been as precious as they were just, needed so much, and valued so much, especially if they were a good tool, or a good whatever, and a good knife or a good whatever. Do you ever think about that when you recover these things? Like,
yeah, of course.
You're just holding an awl or something like,
right.
Yeah.
What they did with this thing, right?
Yeah. No, everything that I dig up, it's just like, what in the world is going on right here? When it comes to like the copper culture, that is, once you find a site or two, it's pretty simple, I should say, to like keep finding more. I know it's one thing to say that, but it's another thing to do it. On that lidar map, I'll put the contours up and see the elevation ranges, and you can see exactly where the ancient shorelines were. And so once you find one copper culture spot, you can pretty much see where they would have been camping and where the water levels were at the time. And you can just kind of follow that line almost and find more sites,
Okay, we got to go. I got to go get on the computer. It's been nice talking to you.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I'm glad I have 3 screens here because I'm pulling up this and I'm going to be, don't mind me. I am paying attention, I swear.
And yeah, it's like I said, I've had the privilege of being on so many of these different spots now that I actually do have like a pretty decent understanding of like where these guys would have been and what kind of places they were looking for, elevation wise, terrain type, at least a decent enough idea to keep finding them and where they were. It's just kind of cool to be able to get into the mind of people that lived that long ago. And, I've walked onto places before with no idea if there was items there or not. And I, get to a certain spot and I say, this looks like it would be absolutely perfect for it. And I start detecting around, and all of a sudden you just start finding these things. And I'm like, I nailed it, dude. I'm in their head right now.
Yeah.
I got 'em.
How cool. Dude, you just gave me goosebumps.
Yeah.
I swear to God, that is so cool, man.
Yeah.
Because that's a whole nother level. You're on a whole nother level there. Because Tony and I could do the research and pinpoint an area and go there, and then you find something, and we know you're just like mission complete. Like, oh my God, I did it. I did it.
Right.
I figured it out. They could usually go 20 miles on their horses, and then they would usually have to camp. So where's the nearest spring to that? Because there was 40 miles between the ranches, and so there's got to be some place in between. And trying to piece all that like a sleuth, like a detective, and then. You're finding things though that like even today, right? You think you're right. Human nature, right? If you can find a good place that you would camp, chances are ancient cultures would probably see that as a good place to camp too. But you're actually looking for things where landmarks are just no longer visible, and you have and you're talking about ancient shorelines, dude. That is just incredible, man.
Yeah,
that's setting the bar way high there, man. I tell you what.
It's really interesting because we'll if there's a good landing spot and we find fur trade items, generally you can just follow the shorelines back and find the copper culture because it's been a good landing spot and a camping spot for so long. They've just been using it for thousands of years.
That's just amazing, man.
Hey, Ken, we had a question from Jersey Diggs.
Yeah.
What's up?
She said, Alex, do you use hillside stretch on lidar? Have you ever used that hillside stretch feature on lidar?
I have not. No. I am super cheap and so I haven't like invested into like a ton of technology for using lidar. I just kind of search out the free ones. So I use whatever Sartopo offers and other free sites. I've seen what the capabilities are, and like, yeah, obviously I would love to do that, but
yeah,
one day.
Right. I think Rachel said she's been using a lidar for about 4 to 5 years now, and it's a great tool. And I know it's another rabbit hole you can go down, right? Like you can get really lost in all the different types of images that are available and the different settings you can put it on. And
dude, I'm not even using like the most advanced lidar, and I literally just stare at these lidar maps and screens for hours on end and just look at all the different little features and things and figure stuff out.
Yeah.
It's
so cool.
It's my video game.
I have sartopo.com. I'm going to put that link in there again, because this is the goods.
Absolutely, man. Shoot. We had another question come in. Did you see that roll in, Tony?
From Joe?
From Joe,
yeah. Do you find charcoal on these sites? I'd imagine so.
Yeah. So on the fur trade sites, I find a lot of campfire pits. You'll see in some of the pictures, if we show them later, I've gotten into sifting the last couple of years, sifted a number of them. We'll find midden piles, basically where they were just throwing all the refuse and stuff, when they're getting ready to leave a camp. So we'll find charcoal, where they were burning stuff in there. I've been keeping an eye out more on these copper culture sites when I find an item and look for either cracked rock or things like that. And I think I have a few spots where I'm going to go back and sift and kind of do more of like an archaeological type dig. And I think I might be able to find some pretty cool stuff from that era like that, like an actual sitting spot,
Yeah. Wow. That'd be cool. Brass Medic, hey man, welcome, buddy. Good to see you.
Yeah.
He had a question for you there, Alex. He said, are there any good reference books that you know of that gives good info and pictures of relics from fur trader, copper, trade silver, Jesuit, whatever?
Yeah. For my area, at least, like the book with all the best ones is the one that my buddy Bob Bennett put together. I can find the exact title here.
There you go.
Yeah, so I'm just getting the title real quick.
We lost him.
Yeah. I'll be. It's called A Pictorial History of Fur Trade Goods. That has all. It's like fur trade all the way, copper culture artifacts, because he's he was finding all the stuff that I'm finding, but he was the first one to get to all these sites with all of his buddies, and so just incredible finds from that one. That's a major reference book. I use it for a ton of my stuff. I know that there's other books that they kind of gear it more toward like Revolutionary War items. I think that's kind of more so what they're labeled as in a lot of reference books. As far as identifying like maker's marks, I know that's a big thing. There's a PDF online with a lot of 18th century British hallmarks that has a lot of them listed in there. And there's just a lot of like weird random PDFs scattered around that you can find of like French maker's marks on knives. But yeah, I'd say the biggest reference book that I use would be Bob's book for sure. The Pictorial History.
There you go.
That's insane stuff in there.
Yeah. No, we got to go find that, Tony. Just to check
I looked on Amazon. It's not on Amazon, so
yeah. You probably have to message him. He kind of makes them like on demand if people want.
Okay.
There you go.
He makes like a little batch. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to write a check. I have a feeling.
Amazing. That's great. Yeah. Well, when you get off here, tell him to heads up that he may. I will. Contact him.
Yeah.
So you let the cat out of the bag. So
yeah.
Start printing. Start printing their book.
Yep.
So let's talk about age. Like what age, a lot of people,
Mm.
there's a lot of knowledgeable people out there, but there's some people that may hear the word, fur trade, and they don't really know what kind of time period we're talking about. And then also after that, we'll talk about the copper culture sort of age period. What do you think in fur trade when you think fur trade?
So for our period specifically around here, we start our fur trade in like the early 1600s is when it really starts kicking off. And it pretty much starts dying off a little after War of 1812 period. The main hub of it is mostly early 17 to mid 1700s. That's probably like 75% of the stuff that we find around here.
He said 1700s.
I know.
Yeah.
Both Tony and I are in Colorado. And we're just like, really?
We hit 1700s when we were in England.
That's
unfortunately.
Yeah. So that's cool,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
Oh, it's incredible.
It varies around us, because I know I have some buddies over toward Minnesota where it's almost like the same kind of items, but it's like shifted to a slightly later date, so like early to mid 1800s and kind of around us. Ours just kind of dies off, like it starts earlier, it feels like, and it kind of ends a little earlier.
Yeah. And then what about copper culture? How far back are we talking about that? Like 1500s, something like that?
Technically, copper culture is around here dated to about 3,000 to 5,000 years old. So it's archaic. Yeah, because from what I understand, there was a short period right around that between around the 3,000 to 5,000 year period where the glaciers kind of retreated again. That was a technology that kind of happened, and it kind of got closed off again for a short period of time until, I'll call it, the modern era kind of started taking over again.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Joe just keeps putting out these references, and I'm just like, what is he talking about? No, we got to ask Alex about. He's talking about woodland rock artifacts. I didn't see that, but that sounded interesting to me. Woodland rock artifacts. You know what he's speaking about there? Are they just like, like native points and stuff like that in the woodland era?
Yeah. Okay. Like the woodland period. Yep. So, at the copper culture sites, there would be the same era of stone tools found there. And I know there's sites that we have ancient pottery that we find from different eras and stuff too. So it's all around us, everywhere. Like I said, fur trade camps are on top of copper culture camps, which also have tons of stone tool. It's just been the same recycled places for thousands of years around here. So,
yeah. Shoot. What, let's get to some pictures, man. I'm looking to my right. I got a screen here on my right, and it's just, it's begging me to.
People are salivating here. That's why they're here watching us.
Yeah.
Real quick before we do that, Brass Medic wanted to know Bob's last name and just so try to reach out to Bob if you want to disclose that.
Yeah. Bob Bennett is his name.
Bennett.
Yeah. Bennett.
Okay.
I'm sure we can track him down.
Yeah. I'll let him know he's going to have a ton of people.
Yeah, he's going to blame you. He's going to have to get a new cell phone number, new email.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What about that NDA we signed back 20 years ago?
Ooh.
That's really cool to have like a mentor like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who did we have on? Buckle Boy had talked about that when we had him on. And actually, Brass Medic, when we had him on, he talked about that a lot.
People that just took them underneath their wings, really showed them the ins and outs, gave up their incredible locations, and then all of a sudden, just the interest just blew up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, I have a lot of people ask to come along with me because they want to learn too, which I totally get. It's one of those things where it's like a really guarded secret around here. It's a tight group, and so you almost have to, like, I guess there's no other way to put it. You basically have to kind of like prove yourself and show what kind of detectors you are first before really too much info is going to be put out or given to you, So it was one of those things, I found my first fur trade site by myself, and then I was posting things, and I got in contact initially with Bob. And, once he started seeing that I was finding things, doing this work by myself, and I shared information with him first, and then it kind of started an exchange. So obviously, if I took everyone with me to these sites, I'd have a line down the street, like waiting to go. So I can't take everyone along.
Yeah, right. I'm sure the list would be long.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. I mean, do you guys have a club? Like a local club?
Not much up here. Nope. There's not really anything up here. I've kind of thought about it, kicked it around a little bit, trying to start one up. I know some other buddies have in the past tried to, do the beginnings of it, but nothing established yet. Nope.
Yeah. So Teresa just sent me a link, and Teresa let me know there. Did you get it, Tony?
Yeah, I was trying to pull it up here if I could.
Yeah. So that must be from Bob. So Bob is active on TreasureNet.
TreasureNet.
He was, yeah. I don't know if he's super active, if at all, there now, but you can. I'll see if I can take a screenshot of.
I've got the link from the post in the blog on TreasureNet that looks like he'll be able to. I think here. Well, we'll just.
Thanks for that, Teresa.
We'll see what we can do.
That.
Yeah, see if this works.
Yeah, the post says, "At long last, I've put together a very nice fur trade photo book, Bob's Photo Gallery, back from 2013."
Yeah.
And it said, took a lot of effort, but it's done now. Photos from the last 10 years of hunting the trade goods. If you Google the book's name, you can find it easy. It's called A Pictorial History. Ready, Brass Medic? A Pictorial History of Fur Trade Goods, mid 1600s to early 1800s in the Mackinac Straits area.
Yeah.
Something like that, right?
Sorry, I'm grabbing my phone charger right now.
It's all right.
No problem.
And
the link that link is too long for me to put it in the chat. So
gotcha.
But I put the title in there.
There you go.
Yeah.
Teresa, thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you a ton.
Yeah, that's a big title he's got there. But
yeah.
Well, let's get to some pictures, man. The first one I'm going to show is kind of a huge display you have.
I don't know if people can handle this, to be honest, but we're going to go ahead and try.
Yeah, I don't.
This stuff's incredible.
All right, so you can tell us why you have this all displayed out when I put it up here.
Okay.
You just let me know when you're good to go.
Yeah, I should be good now. Sorry.
No, that's all right. Yep. All right, here we go.
Ooh,
a little bit of things there.
Yeah. So this was after the first probably 7 or 8 months of detecting fur trade sites. So, anything from the axes over there, the hose, knives, the copper pots that they would have used, the kettles, to flintlock parts, to adornments, jewelry, trade silver. It's a whole mess of stuff there.
Yeah. Now this is a full table. And it is complete. I mean, this isn't just a small little display. This is a wide table. Yeah. And you've got it's packed.
Yeah.
Absolutely packed.
Yep.
My gosh.
Okay. Where do we start? So, well, the good thing is first of all, why'd you have them displayed here? Did I miss that?
So I initially put all this out into a display, took a picture because that was my first presentation I was doing at the Historical Society here locally. Yeah. So that was kind of like the advertisement picture, and that was pretty much everything I had found up to that point.
Yeah.
That I was putting together.
So besides talking with Copper Joe, I'm completely unfamiliar with this this genre of metal detecting.
Okay.
Right.
So let me ask you something, and be honest. I know you're a humble guy and stuff, but when you display this and people in your group see it, are they like amateur? Or are they like, wow, that's a great display?
No, that's
Because this to me looks amazing. You know what I mean? Like,
that's a pretty solid display. Right
okay,
there.
good.
Yeah.
I mean, because I was just like, man, you know, if this is just touching the surface, like it's crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, great display, man. You did a great job with that. Now, the good thing is you took some blowed up pictures of some of these cases.
Yeah, I was
and we
going to
can
say
start
you can
going
get
through.
more into
So
individual.
first of all, for our audio
display.
listeners, we're looking at a big table, right? It's got a bunch of stuff. It's axes on it. It's got blades on it. It's got all kinds of. Look at those fish hooks, man. Those fish hooks are
the
so
hooks
cool.
are incredible.
Axe heads, like looks like plow heads, and all these buckles. Okay, let's just start getting to some of the bigger stuff here. So, what are we looking at here? So it looks like on the left we've got
a lot of gun parts.
A lot of gun parts, like
So
trigger mechanisms or firing pin mechanisms.
Yep, this is like the flintlock kind of section of the collection at the time. So at the top, that's a complete flintlock barrel, musket barrel, that has a London stamp on top.
Wow.
Then you see trigger guard pieces below it there, some of the actual lock mechanisms, butt plates. That knife that I put in there, that was a part of a musket barrel that they cut and made into a handle for the knife blade.
Wow. Very cool.
Yeah, that was kind of a cool piece. And the piece next to it, that's a hide scraper that they took and made from a piece of a barrel as well. Then in the case, those are some side plates, so like the decorative pieces.
Yeah.
You know, on the sides, they would have been shiny brass. You know, there's the musket ball mold.
Yeah,
that's just a single one.
I
you know,
that.
so
jeez,
I love that piece.
Gun worms there.
Yep.
And the bottom left of the picture, not the frame, but the bottom left, that is an exploded mortar shell.
Right here. Yeah.
Oh, the round part. Yeah.
Yeah, there. So I had grown up, even way before I detected or got into the fur trade, heard a story about a spot that there's supposed to be some kind of like skirmish or something that happened. And there is just like no documentation. I can't even find where I got that source from anymore. But I got permission to go and check that area out. And I mean, without like 100% guaranteeing, it's about 99% guaranteed it was some kind of spot like that, because we found 2 complete barrels. We found military buttons from British and US, hundreds of musket balls all over the sides of the hills. We found the exploded mortar shell on top of the hill just behind it. A buddy of mine found a complete sword blade. So
you're right. When you find a site, you're gonna start finding a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So that was definitely something that happened there. That's probably one of my favorite spots, and that was early on too, because it just totally confirms, like a story that I had heard, but no one had any like proof or evidence of it really.
Oh, wow.
I think that's a pretty decent amount of evidence saying something happened there.
Absolutely.
Okay, real quick before we move on, Tony, favorite item on this page?
Mine's the bullet mold.
How about you, Alex?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to go through and.
Nope, you're going quick.
Yep.
Bullet mold.
We got 1,000 pictures to get
I know
through.
we do.
What do you think, Alex? What do you think?
My favorite piece, honestly, is probably the, in this one, pieces of the serpent side plate. We'll see later. There may be more complete ones that I found, but those are so sick to find.
Yeah.
They look so cool.
Very cool. I'm going with the knife with the barrel made in.
That's cool too.
Yeah.
So cool.
Absolutely.
I mean, did you know what that was when you found it, or did it take you some time to go? Whoa!
I know pretty quick. What it was. Yeah. Yep.
Wow. Very cool.
So in this one, we got kind of on the top right. That's another hide scraper. Another example of it. Got like some muskrat spears below, rat tail spears, scissors, obviously, some awls and a fork below the big fish hook, and all the way to the tinier size. You got strikers up in the corner, thimbles, I should say, and next to those, that's kind of a cool
Man.
story. All those are individual sewing needles.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally a needle in a haystack. I
Nobody can find needles with a metal detector. What's up with
Uh-huh.
that?
Those are, it is possible. I dug a couple, but that one was pretty lucky because I actually found a little like tin or container that had 25 or so sewing needles inside of it. It was like a full sewing kit
Wow.
that I found, so that was pretty cool. The jaw harps there in the middle. There's some drill
Very
bits.
cool.
My favorites are the skeleton keys. I love that's my all-time favorite thing to find, just about. I always get excited for those.
You got all the sizes there and stuff, and that
Yeah.
big one is so
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah. Hey, explain strikers to those that might know what those are.
Yeah. Sorry, I kind of just use the jargon and just keep rolling. I'm so used to saying this stuff. So if you ever have any questions, let me know.
Yeah.
The fire strikers, so they would hold that in their hands and hit like flint or a rock against it, make sparks. So it's basically, they would start their fires like that and they would strike against it. Strike a light, sometimes they're called.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I found, so isn't it amazing those needles survived?
Yeah. Some of them were almost rust free, and because it was down in the sand, protected in this little container. So,
wow,
it was awesome.
I was lucky enough to find some Civil War era, in 1860s, from all the other, how do you date it, right? But from everything else we found there, we weren't finding any modern trash. We weren't finding any modern anything. Everything we found there, once we traced the buttons back to the button maker and all that stuff, it was right around 1860s. So,
okay.
And then I found a bunch of these needles, man, and next to a bunch of buttons, underwear buttons and eagle buttons and stuff. So had to be a sewing kit of some kind. But
yeah.
The Colorado sandy, loamy soil out here is really gentle sometimes on some of these relics.
Yeah.
And they were rusty, but they survived, and we were able to see the little eye hole. It was so small. Remember that, Tony? It was so small.
it was yeah. You're on your hands and knees with the pinpointer, just like this.
Yeah.
Just and
they would barely hear it. Like the pinpointer would barely pick them up.
It was great.
So small. Yeah.
Yep.
Very cool.
Holy cow.
So this one has a lot of cool stuff in it. I'll start in the bottom right. Those are called tinkler cones. So those would have been made from the copper kettle. When it would either bust, or wear out, they would cut pieces and make these. They would have been put on their clothing and worn as adornments. So technically, I think the term comes from them, walking around, and they would hit against each other and make this tinkling sound.
Yeah.
So people,
I've heard that term before. Jinglers, or something like that.
Yeah.
Tinklers.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then kind of just to the left of it, those are hawk bells, little hawk bells. So those were like adornment pieces, and a lot of iron points in there. And there were some copper kettle points as well. So those, same thing, made from the kettles when they would bust up. You got some buckles up in the corner. That's a brass armband there, or bracelet.
Yeah.
You got crosses in there, and
those are cool.
Yeah. The two things in the center. So there's the bigger crucifix there. That one is an early piece, probably like late 1600s, early 17. Super detailed. I've only ever really seen one other one, and it was on display at the Fort Michilimackinac. I wish I had sent you like a zoomed in picture on it. Just incredible detail, but it at the same time looks crazy crude. So it's just super old. And the piece next to it, that's a Jesuit medal.
Very cool. Like the buckles in the upper right hand corner too. We're looking at these bigs. Like looks like one of them shoe buckle, maybe another one. But it looks like they got a lot of work on them, like a lot of detail up there.
Yeah. And then all those pieces there, those little round things, are all buttons. I always hear and see you guys finding a ton of buttons. Buttons aren't as common here as other sites, because a lot of this is like native spots and camps. And I just don't think they had as big of a use for buttons as like the colonists did. So it's kind of cool when we do find a button. They're not extremely common. They're not extremely rare either, but a lot. So there's a couple of military ones in there. There's some War of 1812 infantry button, and there's some Rev War buttons in there.
Wow.
Very cool. Very, very cool.
Incredible.
All right.
This is a lot of trade silver. So we find hundreds of those small little ring brooches. Those are scattered everywhere. So if you start finding those, you know that you're around, a fur trade camp. That's some of the first things that we find. And then you start getting to the kind of the more like specialized ones that kind of have towards the top there, different shapes and designs. A lot of those, the better ones, will have maker's marks that you can trace back to the silversmiths. And yep, so most of them are from like Montreal. Some are from right here in Michigan, like down in Detroit area. Some of the crosses, and then the earrings and ear bobs.
Lots of earrings.
Yep. The two little wooden figurines in the middle, that is a really cool story. Those came from pretty early in the 1600s site. I found 10 Jesuit rings from that era all in one hole, and then a few feet from it, probably like 10 feet or so, it was another little tin container, and it had these little figurines, wooden figurines. I think they're cedar. But that, no one that I know has ever really seen something like that coming out of the ground still, because wood will disintegrate pretty fast around here, at least. Sometimes bone will survive. But unless you're in the water, wood isn't really a thing that survives that much.
Well, it's interesting that it has that stick too. So is that stick meant to kind of stand them up and represent them being together as one type of thing? Or
so there's technically a little hole in like the center chest of both of those pieces, and the dowel is right there with them. I think that would have like connected them. I've heard different theories, nothing like confirmed really on what it would have been for, but a really cool piece.
It connected them in some way.
Yeah.
A marriage or a son, mother, who knows, but that's really cool.
It's definitely a female and a male figurine, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And, for those that are listening too, we're looking at a Riker box here. What's the size of this Riker box, do you think? Probably.
These are about like 12 by 16 each the one. So.
And how many items you have in there? There's probably 100 items in there.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah. So we'll describe that as we go on. It's hard to remember to announce this to the listening audience, but that's why I really encourage you to come over and check out the video sometime. Right. So, favorite piece on this one, probably the wood. So first of all, I got to know, I asked you earlier, the double crosses.
Yeah.
So unique. So cool.
Yeah.
And there's two of them in there. Beautiful ones.
You'll see some more later.
Some more.
Yeah. So those crosses of Lorraine, those were definitely more of like the religious status items. Whether it was worn by a priest or not, or traded to a religious native, or just worn as an adornment. It started as a religious item. That's definitely one of the big items from then. They're not super common to find either. So, a nice big double bar cross like that.
It's cool.
Yeah. Real quick, it says the cross of Lorraine, known as the cross of Anjou in the 16th century, is a heraldic two-barred cross consisting of vertical line crossed by two shorter horizontal bars. So it's like a typical cross, but it's got an extra bar. But those with the like fluored ends, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
On the ends, it just makes it even look really cool.
Yeah.
Really cool. Really nice examples there. Favorite piece in this box? We didn't get it to the last time, but
for me, it's the wooden pieces for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. Tony, how about you?
I kind of like the silver triangle on the top left, the fourth one over.
This one?
Very unique.
Yeah.
The top left. I can't see your cursor, but That's pretty interesting. Or the on the right hand side next to the crosses is that a bracelet or what is that there?
Are you talking about that kind of starburst
All the
shape there?
that's a great description.
Yeah.
Starburst, yeah.
So that would have been like a big shirt brooch. So that one had actually been kind of cut up into pieces, and they would make like little crafts out of them, different designs. But that would have been one whole big, shirt brooch.
Probably belonged to Grandma.
I think Grandma definitely owned that one.
No, I had to say it. That's a big inside joke between me and our digging partners. Yeah.
Only one other person on the listening is going to get that. Anyway.
That's right. Sorry about that. Okay, mine. Let me see. I think I'm going with the Crosses of Lorraine. The wood figures.
Wood figures are pretty incredible.
He already said that, so I can't say that. All right, moving on. Hey, it's some axes.
Hey, these are sweet.
Yeah.
They got some markings on them.
Yeah.
So what are these? These are axes and hoes?
Yep, axes and hoes. So some of those axes will have marks on them that we can trace back most times to like the blacksmith that would have been making them. So I love anything with a mark that I can trace back, especially an axe. The hoes, we find quite a bit of those because a lot of this area was farming. So I probably have 30, 35 hoes from that era, different styles and designs.
Yeah. Joe wanted to know real quick, are the points you find hold, do they have wood in them?
As far as
some of the points you find.
Yeah, the copper and the iron ones from the fur trade era, those are not hold usually around here. I know the style varies as you go more south in different areas. They around here seem to stick pretty strictly to an actual arrowhead type design, so it has that kind of look. But the copper culture will occasionally, kind of have like little fragments of wood and stuff in them from like the shaft it would have been on.
Yeah. So go ahead, Tony. Were you going to say something? Okay. You got nothing. I got nothing.
I'm just sitting here in awe. I'm speechless.
Yeah. So I'm showing right now I'm showing on the screen a shot of a bunch of like ring holders, and I'm sure you've all seen them. They're sort of black like velvet, and they have like they represent fingers, and a lot of people display rings on them. And there is just a ton of rings. Now they look like signet rings, but they look unlike most signet rings I have ever seen because they look thousands of years older. I don't know how these date back, but these are really cool.
Yeah, these are from so that bottom row there, those are all 1600s Jesuit rings.
Rings.
Yeah. Wow. And then the other plaque rings above them, and that next row and little on the top, those are kind of early to mid 1700s plaque rings, Jesuit rings. And so all the letters on them are kind of like initials, or not initial, but like abbreviations for Latin religious phrases, usually having to do with like Mary or Jesus. And then a lot of that bottom row, you can see like the classic IHS for I think the Latin letters for Jesus.
Yeah.
And then up top there's a couple rings up there, plain band ones, and then some of them have different like glass stones in them, different designs.
Well, if you would have had, see the one with the BI on it or whatever right there?
Yeah.
If you would have just had that one, it would have been incredibly impressive. But you've got multiples of a lot of these rings. Like let's count the Jesuit rings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11,
yeah, those
13,
Jesuit
14,
ones
15,
are incredible.
16, 17, 18. Like,
I think I'm up to 29 total now. You'll see later.
Yeah.
We had Ohio Relic Hunter made a comment. He said that top left one, 1600 Super Bowl ring. Holy
it
cow.
is.
Yeah.
That thing's huge.
That one's kind of cool. That one's actually hand cut out from a piece of copper pot. So that was like a handmade one. That wasn't so much like a mass produced one at all.
And then like you found so many. So, okay, these finger molds, just to explain to people what they're looking at, these finger molds that are display pieces, right? They're black velvet, like I said, they're conical in shape.
Mm-hmm.
You found enough rings that you could actually stack them to where the diameters are reducing each time so
Yeah.
that you can put, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them.
Yeah.
That is really cool. I mean, what a great way to display it. You're like, yeah, I've got so many here. I can just stack them up on top of each other. That's mind boggling to me.
Yeah.
You can find so many.
Those are some of my favorite things to find. I'm going to say that probably about a lot of the things. But yeah. Jesuit rings. My heart gets pumping every time I dig one of those.
Yeah. Wow.
Incredible display.
Another question. Yeah. It's just amazing to look at. Copper Joe says, do you find conical points?
Yes, I have one bigger size conical point and one smaller one. I know the guys around here that also detect copper culture. They have some pretty cool, pretty nice conical points for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
this
nice.
is one that my buddy dug. I was with him that day when he dug that. That's a pretty large big copper knife there, copper culture knife.
Yeah, pretty big. So it's shaped almost like an S. It's in situ here. What is that dirt? That looks really sandy dirt.
Yep. So that's kind of in like a pretty loamy soil, and quick drying. And then, like I said, the copper culture is going to be down in that sand layer. So as we dig the hole, the topsoil will get out of the way, and then you'll see us usually putting the sand kind of in there.
Yeah. And real quick, he talked about rings. I'll go over here and show the other display of his rings he's got. But he's got quite a few rings there. Now we're kind of looking at a flat display where you can insert the rings inside the little slits.
Yeah.
And he's got quite a number of rings in there. Another really cool display for sure.
Yeah.
Moving on to these, you got some little bits and bobs here in your hand.
All knives and a little point there and conical, a little tiny conical. So that was all from like one little site that we found, copper culture site that day.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah, I mean, come home with that, right, Tony? You'd just be like, oh, you know what I forgot to do? Favorite ring, Tony?
To me, it's all the Jesuit ones on the bottom. I think those are just absolutely incredible and such a personal, deeply passionate type of decoration that people just, incredible.
How about
Absolutely
you, Alex?
speechless.
Yeah, it is great. They're great.
Yeah.
How about you, Alex?
Oh, I think my favorite has got to be one of the bottom ones. I think there's 2 duplicates of it. It's a L heart design. It just looks really cool. I love that design and look. So that's my favorite.
This BI one keeps catching my eye right there. And
because it's hand scribed.
Hand scribed, and
you can tell.
Yeah, very rustic looking, and the ones with the stones are really cool too. That's really cool. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about this little thing. So you sent me some pictures of this. Right. Why don't you go ahead and introduce us? So we're looking at sort of a golden coin made into a brooch pendant. Or a pendant. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was a day that we were on our way to a fur trade site, and we kind of stumbled on like a 50s, 60s era hunting camp. And we usually just kind of pass those by somewhat. But we started swinging. There was a lot of high tones. So my buddy dug 2 silver quarters, and I dug probably like 8 Wheaties, and then all of a sudden I got this nice like mid 50s signal and flipped this thing out. And I didn't even look at it. I just saw the color. I knew what it was immediately, but I was just like, oh crap. And I just ran over to him like, what is this, dude? What is this? So it ends up being a 1959 Mexican gold coin. So it's kind of like a weird coin to get, I guess, but it counts, baby. It's gold coin.
It's a gold coin. It does count, baby.
Yep. It's a solid gold
inlaid
pendant that it's in. Yep.
Had to be heavy. Yeah. What's the diameter on that thing?
Oh, I measured it. I can't remember exactly what it is. It's just
10 pesos.
It's just a little bigger than a quarter. I believe is what it is.
Holy
beautiful.
cow.
Isn't that a beautiful piece?
What
Very,
an
very
incredible
cool.
piece. Yeah. Gorgeous. Well, congrats on the gold
Yeah.
coin.
Yeah, there you
Oh,
go,
man.
man.
That's
Welcome.
amazing.
You know, I didn't think I'd ever get one. My buddy, I dug it out and he's like, no one's found a gold coin up here around where we are. It's just not a thing. So
Right.
Question from Teresa the Treasure Hunter says, have you ever found anything from the Crusaders, Knights Templar, anything like that?
No, not from them specifically, but it's one of those things where a lot of the stuff that I find, I mean, it's like right in line with them, because everything, a lot of the stuff that we're finding here is all European trade goods, and it's all coming from Europe, which is where the Templars were from, you know. So, you know, it's that kind of thing where it's all based on technically what a lot of their stuff is.
Yeah.
So,
Joe wants to know, did you ever find a double pointed knife?
I have not. No.
Have you seen them come up?
I feel like I might have seen a picture of one, but I have not personally dug any, and I haven't seen any come out when I was with anybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all those pictures that we were looking at initially, that was, like I said, probably the first, like, I'll say 7 or 8 months. I just did this the other day. This is almost exactly 2 years since I first dug my very first fur trade item. So this is 2 years worth of fur trade.
Yeah, another great collection shot of all of his Riker
Yeah.
boxes with all kinds of different stuff in it. We're definitely going to get to those blades. Those look really cool. So these are bale seals, I guess, for different types of bale seals.
Yep, these are all bale seals. A lot of them are like British clothiers and fabric.
Amazing.
Very cool.
I love those.
I love them with the letters on them and the things you can
I
try to
do,
identify, you know.
Yep.
We were
Yep,
finding those in
very cool.
England and stuff. It was real cool.
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
Hello.
Yeah. So these are all pocket
This was
knife
all
blades.
found in the prison.
Right. These are all the shanks.
All the shanks from the prison. Jeez.
Yeah. So these are all different styles and sizes of folding knives. Most of these are going to be French marks on there. Pretty much all knives. I'd say like 90% of them will have a maker's mark on them, whether it's legible or not. It's a different story, but yeah,
on
a
the
lot
right with that in the middle with the lighter colored one, I can see like a to the right, one over and one down.
This one.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yep.
Incredible.
Tony Frangella.
Yeah, hammered out by Tony.
Congratulations, Tony. That's some good work, man.
The one below it says "Made in China," so I don't know. I'm just kidding. I'm not.
Listen to Alex. She's like, "Don't even go there." Man.
I know.
Dude, I fight that so much already.
Have you found? I mean, are there ones that have identical maker's marks? Ones that are the same?
Yeah, I have a lot of duplicates. I'd say probably in total. I mean, so what you're seeing in cases is just what I've been able to clean and seal so far. I mean, I have a mountain of iron things that I clean over time and put in cases. So, I mean, I probably have, I don't know, 90, 100, 150 knives, you know, just a massive pile, a lot of duplicates. But
that's cool.
Yeah, it's so cool. Now, what's your preservation technique like?
Yeah. So it's pretty long. It takes a long time for me.
Which is why you still have 150 of them out there.
Yeah. I tend to go a few extra steps than just like the average person, I guess. So I take the iron and I soak it in a rust remover in total for about 6 weeks. At the 3-week mark, I usually take it out because it's kind of like a dirty sludge at that point. Clean it out, put it in a fresh batch. And at the 6-week mark, it looks pretty perfect, like a nice, iron color. And then I take it right from that, barely clean it off enough, and put it right in boiling wax, so it seals them. And I've had these things for a long time, and most of them don't have any rust showing through. some people don't like it so much on some of the more delicate things like the knives, because it kind of hurts some of the edges sometimes. So some people try to preserve the edge by just kind of cleaning them a little and soaking them in like an oil, instead of being too harsh on them. But I like to not have any more rust happen. So, but it takes a long time. So usually each iron thing is pretty much a minimum of like 6 weeks to do a full cleanup on it.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Didn't we have a question come in from Teresa, Tony? I thought I saw one up there.
She wanted to know what the terrain looks like. Is it in the woods or just in general where you're at?
Yeah. So pretty much all of this is in the woods. We up here, we're fortunate enough to have a lot of kind of undisturbed land, so it's not really built up or farmed even in a lot of areas. A lot of it's pretty untouched woods. So I'm pretty much always in the woods or along shorelines, like in cedars and stuff.
Do you have ticks up in Michigan?
Oh yeah, baby. I get probably, I don't know, 10 a year or so, but I get them crawling all over on me, and I usually get poison ivy like probably 15 times a year.
There we go. That's
wow.
Me and poison ivy. I'm attracted to it for some reason. I can find it anywhere.
I just go, I get a patch of it, and then right as it starts to heal, I get another one, and I pretty much just have one continuous patch, and I just ignore it at this point. It's just a nuisance.
So we're looking at now just a bunch of knife blades.
Yeah.
I said just. Did I just say just?
Yeah.
Just knife blades? Yeah.
Just a bunch of knife blades from France, and
you're starting to get to
1400s.
the level of, you don't even know what's super important anymore. Now you're just like a pile of knives. These
pile
are
of knives that are 500 years old.
So this is kind of a mixture. A lot of these are British knives, but they're French and British are usually a good mix of kind of this more like scalping style. And you see like some more like dinner knives style in there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yep.
Very, very nice. Very nice. Very nice.
Oh,
you found some with some bone handles on.
Oh yeah. So those, I like finding those because that's about the only thing that will survive in the soil around here without being submerged in water, is some bone. So occasionally, we'll get the knives with some bone left over. Some of those knives in the center are kind of like crooked or bowl knives. So from what I understand, they were used for, either kind of hollowing out like a log piece to make a bowl or carving out canoes, anything involving a little carving action like that.
Yeah.
Some of those on the left are more complete pocket knives. That's what they would have looked like. And then that cartouche handle in the middle there, that's a really nice kind of design brass. That would have been, it had
That's
like bone inlays in there.
Yeah.
I've had buddies that have dug them out with, the inlays still intact with them. And that's incredible stuff.
Yeah.
The intricate work on that is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Ancient Adventure said, it took me moving to South Carolina to realize how much I absolutely love trade relics. Sounds like she's maybe from your old home, you're from your hometown or home state at least. Of course, then my home state is loaded with them. Yep, your collection's amazing. I'll be going home soon to detect. But if you guys go over and check out her channel, she's got a lot of cool relics from South Carolina. Let me tell you. So
She does.
Some of them tags, man, pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Here we go. Okay, we know what the top ones are. Those are called strikers, right? What are the round pieces?
So these are all different styles of fire strikers. These are all strikers technically. It's just different styles, eras. Some of those kind of mustache style ones up top.
Yeah.
Some of those we find on like French sites, and then the ones right below them, still the mustache style, but they're thicker, and those are like a later British one. And then those kind of oval and round ones, those are mixed in all eras, but they're all different styles of strikers.
I like like you mentioned, the mustache one where it kind of has that little little round at the end of it. I think
little
it's just
flare.
Yeah, that is so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, they're fun to find. I like those
I
mustache
bet.
ones.
Yeah,
Very
absolutely.
This one
Whew.
is
So
there's
we're
some
looking at a
cool
bunch of bracelets. Some
yeah,
Yeah.
so up
lock
top,
plates.
yep, those are all brass bracelets. Well, actually, technically, the one top right, that's a pewter one. So that's a pewter bracelet. Yeah, lock plates. Those round discs, we only find those here on 1600 sites. It's kind of been debated what the use was, whether it was like an adornment or since we only find them here on the earliest of contact sites, it's been a theory before that it could have been the natives making like their version of a coin because they saw that's what was valuable to the traders. So that was like an early style. But like I said, nothing concrete, but they're cool to find. You're on a really early site around here, at least when you find those. A lot of different style buckles there. And my favorite one in this one is that starburst style.
Yeah.
So that I found on the side of a hill. I found the knife, that, and a bunch of copper pot pieces around it. It was a dude sitting there cutting up probably the bottom of a copper pot that broke, and he made that brooch. So that's all a handmade done piece right there. Which is, I love that piece.
I love this little
Insane.
buckle down in the lower right. It's kind of a shell
Yeah.
buckle, shell-shaped buckle, and it just looks like it's. I mean, it looks like it's it's probably got a lot of damage on it from just over the years, but
Yeah.
it almost looks like it's on purpose. It's
Mhm.
pretty cool looking, definitely.
Yeah.
Quick question.
Yep.
Going back to the previous picture, actually one more back. Ancient Adventure says, can you just explain real quick how a striker is used?
Yeah, so they would hold it, I'm trying to find my camera. They would put their fingers through that opening.
Mm-hmm.
And then
the thicker part was on top.
Yeah, yep, the thicker part was facing, away from them, and that's the part that they would strike the flint against to make the sparks, to try and start fires that way. So it's just different ways of holding them, different styles like that.
Good explanation. Yeah, thank you.
Perfect.
Ooh,
Okay.
some barber shop was close to here.
Yeah. Yep. A lot of awls in there. There was an awl there with a little tiny bone piece of handle still left over. Some more jaw harps. That lock is pretty cool. That one, it actually has a US stamp on it.
Yeah.
It's super faint, but so that was from like a War of 1812 era site.
Lockbox.
Yeah, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Added some more keys since the last picture there. There's that one broken one in the center.
Right
That
here.
one would have been massive.
Yeah, that was huge.
Yeah, so that was going to, whether it was like an actual building at the time or something.
It looks like it's one of the more higher secure locks. Keys and locks back in the day.
Yep.
You weren't gonna counterfeit that one.
Yep.
What era are these hooks from, do you think?
The fishing hooks there.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So,
you got one of every size. You're able to stack them down.
I kind of find those through all the era sites. Obviously the design of a fishing hook doesn't really change much, so it's kind of hard besides being at the site, dating it around the stuff that you're digging with it. But yeah, I've dug them from 1600s sites to 1700s up into the 1800s. So
what I love in looking at that, I mean, you've got 6 different hooks there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Probably, 1600s. It hasn't changed in how many years?
Right.
Like it just, you have the eye on it comes around. You've got the what is that part called? I forgot, on the tip.
The barb.
But the barb. Yeah. And it hasn't changed, slight design, slight change here in the angle. But my gosh, for 400 years, it's been the same thing.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the thing. So we're down to like 6 minutes left and we've got thousands of pictures to get through. No, I'm teasing. So here's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Let me know if you want to do this. I'm going to start rattling through pictures here real quick.
I'll give a speed run.
And
baby.
Alex, just say stop and say something about something
Okay.
unique
Okay.
about. But I know you're every picture you're gonna be
I
like,
know.
stop.
Yeah, he's got
Let's talk about
something.
this.
I'll try and be selective.
And you can also say go back if I go too fast, right?
All right.
So here
Yeah.
we go.
Okay,
Wait a
go
minute.
back to that one real quick.
Yeah.
No, I know. I was ready.
No,
for
no,
this
the
one.
wood figures. What's the one on the left?
So that is a bone effigy, actually. Whether it's like a human or some kind of like a bear or something like that. But that was definitely a bone effigy. The two pieces next to it, those are little bone dice.
Jeez,
Mm.
look at that.
Wow.
So you can see the little numbers that were carved into them. Clay pipe stems, obviously, and the gun flints down below. Piece of pottery. So that's kind of like the beginning stages of when I've started sifting more of these campfire pits and like the refuse piles.
Man, that opened up a whole nother world to you when you start
Yeah.
taking pits.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah.
Shoot. That is amazing.
All right, sorry, I'll let you go now.
That's right.
A bunch of hooks.
Copper culture.
Ooh.
Bunch
Points.
of
A
arrowheads.
lot of copper.
Yep.
Kettle
Yep.
points, right? A lot of
Kettle
kettle
points.
points.
Yep.
That
Big
one in the
spear
middle
points.
is amazing.
Yep. Big lance point or spear
Lance
point.
point. Yeah. Shoot.
Lots of buttons here. This is all different buttons. That whole center area is all military buttons from anywhere from Revolutionary War to War of 1812.
We're in 1812. Yeah. I found one of those, pewter one of these in upstate New York.
All the
Jewelry.
silver,
Jewelry, trade
armbands,
silver.
shirt brooches. Yep.
Very cool. What's this big dog right here?
That one I'm not totally convinced on what that is. It's either a giant tinkler cone, part of a powder measure, or it could have been like the liner for a big pipe that they were smoking, because I have a smaller version of that just below it. Then the beads there, that's another part of sifting that I've started doing. So those are all trade beads.
Yeah. God, I'm so fond of those needles, man.
The needles are cool.
The needles just have my heart.
The right hand side, you've got the turtle, and then
Yeah,
is it the phoenix?
Yeah, so Thunderbird. Yeah, that's
Thunderbird.
Like
that's what I meant.
Yep. So those are all lead effigies that are carved there.
Jeez. Amazing. And what do they call these buckles again? Brooches? They call them circle brooches?
Little ring brooches.
Ring brooches.
Ring brooch. Okay.
Yeah, amazing. There's probably 100 there, if not more. Maybe not that many. Maybe 50.
Yeah, I have a big pile of those.
Hey,
there we go.
Here we go.
I wanted you to stop on this one. So
sure.
There's a couple complete serpent side plates there. Those are pretty hard to find. Apparently there was a tradition where when they would retire a gun, they would break the serpent. So we find a lot of pieces of them, but it's not as common. It's pretty hard to find a complete one. So,
well, dude, knowing that story, finding a broken piece, that's pretty cool too. You know what I mean?
No, for sure. Yeah.
Wow.
And then in that upper left corner there, you can see that's part of a sword hilt, and right below it is like the scabbard tip.
Oh.
So that was from a spot there.
And were they found close together, like in the same area?
Yep.
You think they went together?
Quite possibly.
Yeah. What are all these spring screwy things over here on the right?
Those are all gun worms.
Gun worms.
Yeah. So that's what that would have been on like a stick, and they screw down into the barrel. If it was like wet powder or misfire, they would pull the bullet out.
Yeah. Screws into the lead, and then you can yank it out.
Yep.
Yeah, while you're panicking because your gun
is
fired. Damn.
Exactly.
A lot of bad words were being said as they're being screwed in there.
Yeah.
They should call those cuss screws or something. All right. More gun parts, gun mechanisms.
Real quick, that's a complete, minus the wood, obviously, but it was a full War of 1812 U.S. soldier issued gun. So there's a Harper's Ferry 1811 stamp on that lock and an eagle with a U.S. stamp on it.
You're kidding me. Holy cow.
Are you kidding?
What a find.
Yep. That's a pretty cool item right there.
Sure is. Oh my gosh.
Hide scrapers.
Hide scrapers. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very cool. Look at this one all folded over.
Yep. Yeah. Some use on that bad boy.
Yeah. Yep. Is this like a scythe?
Yep. Scythe. barrel tap in there. Those
Barrel
are
tap,
my
yeah.
more complete shoe buckles that I found.
Animal trap.
Complete trap. Yep, complete
What
trap.
do you think this one is up here?
So that's a wagon wheel wrench, I found out. So they would have been for like the axle nut, because it was square at the time, that would have fit right over it and be able to wrench it off.
Jeez, that's crazy.
These are ice spuds. So these are big.
Spuds.
Yep, big and thick ice spuds.
Got to blow your ears off when you go find them.
Yeah.
Wow.
More gun parts there.
Gun parts, yeah.
Yep.
Lots of butt plates.
Some axe
Tomahawks there and axes. Yep.
Yep, one of the
hose.
Axes and hose, Tony.
Yeah.
We were talking about it earlier.
Yeah. Yep.
And then what
made.
did you think about when you found this pot?
So, dude, this thing was screaming. I definitely thought this was trash. And then I started digging down, and it was on the side of a hill. So I had to dig into the hill, like the side of it. I probably got like a foot in before I even hit the bottom of the pot. It was upside down. And I just kept, carefully digging around it, and just kept getting bigger and bigger, and finally pulled that complete one out. But yeah, so the big pots are hard enough to find complete. So I got that big one. And then, as far as I know, no one around here has ever dug another tiny little one like that. And that's one of my favorite finds, because it's so small and unique. I've been told that it was probably used for either like medicine making, or maybe like melting lead for bullet molds and stuff. So more of like a small deal like that. Really cool. I like those.
Okay, last picture.
Wow.
Yeah. So this was a fire pit that I had sifted, and this was a complete 1700s whiskey bottle that was thrown onto the coals probably. And so it started, the backside started melting in and folding, and then it shattered. And so I went and sifted and got as many pieces as I could. I took a whole night and just kept piecing pieces together and kind of recreated it. So
you're not passionate or anything, are you?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to ask you this, but favorite find?
Oh man, dude.
Of all time.
You know we were going to ask you.
Yeah,
Come on.
Yeah.
I know. Everyone asks me, and I just, man. I'm going to say my favorite find is probably the 10 Jesuit rings with the wooden figurines kind of right by them, just because of the whole story with them from an early site. And just, it was just super cool to me to find something like that all together. I would love to know like the full story behind it, whether it was like a marriage, 10 rings. So I don't know if it was like 2 hands worth, combining, burying them together and put the figurines together, or someone suggested maybe it was like a couple that was lost at sea, and that was like their funerary type like process for it, because so that I love
me goosebumps, man.
Yeah, it's so cool, man. I love that you're passionate about it, because we all kind of share that, you know what I mean? And it's like reliving it through your eyes and hearing how, your excitement about it and the things you like about it, you know what I mean? Because it wasn't just the items.
Yeah.
It's all the fact that you found them together and wondering what it is. And, we all get it, man. Everyone that listens to this show and stuff understands the whole lure of what we do. Yeah. But
every site that we find, every item, it just puts another pin on the map, makes it easier to create this whole treasure map, basically, and like roadmap of what they were doing back then. So it's crazy just to keep connecting all the dots and create the trail systems that they were using and find where they were literally sitting in campfires, and it's crazy.
Well, you got an invitation from Copper Joe to come on up to visit Wisconsin. He would love to go out detecting with you.
Thanks,
Copper Joe. You guys got to get together.
Yeah.
Sorry I talked so much. Didn't really get to get any calls or anything like that. And
but like I said, we can have you on a number of times more. So please, we'll give you a little bit of time to rest, but then we'll definitely come back to you and have you on again. Because
no problem.
I don't know if we've ever done a show completely devoted to kind of these kind of relics and stuff. And it was great that you'd sent so many pictures so we could talk about it. You know, and for those of you listening on the replay, I'm sorry if it's kind of, you know, been a little too much listening to these, but I do invite you to come on over to 5280 Adventures on YouTube and check out the replay on this, because you're going to definitely want to see some of Alex's finds here. You got to hear some of the stories behind them, and so now come see them. That would be awesome. Amazing, dude.
Thanks,
yeah.
dude.
Amazing.
Thanks.
Just amazing.
I get chills every time I go out, baby.
You got to feel so proud of that. You know what I mean? Oh, I bet. And I bet you go right back to the time when you discovered it.
Yeah.
Like we do. It's so cool. And I can't even imagine finding something like a copper culture, you know, all or something, when I know I'm in the area where I could actually find stuff like that. And then
I mean, me and my buddy pretty frequently it'll be late at night and he's just like, send me some pics of your relics, man. Let's talk about them. Let's have a couple drinks and just look at them. So
shoot,
that's so good.
No, there's so many stories and experiences, and it's been a crazy time.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it, man.
Well, look, dude, thanks for coming on the show with me. Thanks for reaching out, and loved having you on the show, man. You're a great guest.
Great show.
Thanks,
had a
dude.
great time tonight. Really a lot of fun, and would love to have you back on again for sure.
Hey, I'd love it. That'd be awesome.
Well, you have your last word. I'll go ahead and we're going to put you down in the green room. If you want to hang out there while Tony and I end the show, then you and I and Tony can say our goodbyes off air. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, cool.
Yep. Great. You need to give us those GPS coordinates.
Right on it, dude.
We found those little wooden figures.
Yeah. I'm on
We'll go for it, bud. You got the last word, and then we'll put you down in the green room.
I appreciate you guys letting me come on. This is like my passion and obsession, really. So I love sharing it with people and telling stories behind it. I know a lot of people want me to make YouTube videos or like show the hunts maybe one day, but you know, I'm always welcome, or I'm always willing to show pictures to people, anyone that wants in the meantime. But yeah, I just appreciate you guys letting me come on, and I appreciate everyone that's always interested in checking this stuff out, because I love it.
Yeah, Mark Thomas wants to know why the hell we're ending the show. So, okay, Alex, we'll just go a couple more hours. Let's go. Thanks, Mark.
Man,
Page 2 of finds.
I could, man. I could talk about this all day.
Yeah. Well, hats off to you, Alex. Thanks so much, man. You've been a great guest. Hang out in the green room, and we'll say our goodbyes. But
Cool.
Yeah, it was a wonderful night.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. We'll talk to you soon.
Holy cow. You know, so I'm going to call this our show and tell show.
Yeah.
We have definitely not have gone so heavy on pictures before.
Never. Yeah.
And I still have goosebumps and chills. Just incredible. Like, if you guys literally listening on the replay, you have to go back and watch this one, because it really knocked it out of the park. And the stories that go along with it, that's what makes it.
Yeah. And you know what I love about Alex is that he's a very big testament to the impact you have when you clean, preserve, and present your finds.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
And
display them. Like his displays were just, it added to it. You know what I mean? Because the way he put them together, it's very thoughtful. The way he kind of stacked things up so you can see that he's found numerous, you know, I teased him about that, right? So they found multiple sizes and stuff, but it just, you know, it adds something to it for sure. And I was, when he started sending those pictures over, I was like, oh my gosh, how are we going to do this on an audio podcast? Or, you know, it's going to be all show and tell. I knew it was just going to be a show and tell, but that's okay. That's okay. People that joined us here live really enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. And
great time in the chat tonight. Lots of people enjoyed the show overall.
Yeah. Lots of people. We appreciate all the questions, the interaction. It was great. So, all right, man, let's close her down and get on the road. Go for it. What you got going on?
I just want to thank Alex for coming on. Again, like you had said, not only the collection, the preservation, the display, but the passion, showing it and sharing with everybody and having the stories behind it. I mean, man, he's one of us, I tell you.
He is,
we say that about people, and he nailed it on the head. He's one of us, man. But yeah, I just want to thank Alex for coming on. Incredible show tonight. I had an absolute blast looking at everything and sharing with everybody in the chat. Great chat tonight. Lots of people here, just over the top with what Alex was presenting with us. So thank you very much, Alex. I appreciate it. If you guys are interested in what I'm up to, you guys can look on Google, go to YouTube, go to Facebook. All my links are there. 5280 Adventures. And that's really about it. We're going to get out. You and I are getting out soon. So
yeah. This weekend, I think we're going to go swing some and see what we can find.
Stay tuned for Facebook posts, YouTube posts.
I doubt they're going to be fur trade or copper culture, but
yeah,
we'll give it a shot.
We'll find some cool wheat pennies.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
But I'm bummed. But yeah.
All right.
Copper culture wheat pennies. We have, what's funny is that when we have Alex back on, like we could have him on to probably talk about research with lidar. We could have him back on to talk about preservation techniques. Like, Alex is our new best friend. So
I know.
Have him back on.
He's so cool.
We love Alex. All right, man. Well, yeah, if you guys want to find me anywhere on social media, really, Adventures in Dirt is where you can find me. And I got a weekly show I put out usually on Sundays called The Weekly Dirt. It's basically just a compilation of what other people are finding out there. I kind of watch a lot of videos throughout my time away from the podcast. And so I'll grab little clips of what people are finding, kind of put together, not really a best of, but kind of just like a little compilation of kind of what people are finding out there. It's good motivation. It's good inspiration for us to see what other people are finding. And I enjoy putting it on and stuff. And I haven't for the past couple of weeks because I've been on vacation. I've been away from things, but get back at it this weekend and look forward to bringing that to you every week, every Sunday. So catch me over there or anywhere else on Adventures in Dirt. Have yourself a great week. Boy, next week we're going to be doing it again. Please join us right here on the 5280 Adventures YouTube channel or over on some of the Facebook groups we post to. And you can always catch us on the audio replay. Which we post right after we do the video here. We take the audio and we post it over on the podcast. So if you're catching us on the replay, thanks for joining us. We will see you next week. Be safe. Go get the good stuff and tell me about it. We'll see you.
Thank you so much for listening to Relics Radio. We will see you back here next week for another exciting guest. Until then, get out and dig it all.